Hello, you're watching the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm NGUYEN, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. National Assembly enhances application of technology in supervisory activities. From faith to action, spirit of alcohol's soldiers. South African President CYRIL RAMAPHOSA pays tribute to General Reup. On October the 24th, under the chair of National Assembly Chairman Chen Ting-men, the National Assembly discussed the draft law on supervisory activities of the National Assembly and People's Council. President Lung Kung attended the discussion session.
As reported, the draft law now comprises 5 chapters with 45 articles, reducing detailed regulations on procedures to assign the National Assembly Standing Committee to carry out the work, while clarifying the authority and responsibilities of oversight bodies. At the discussion, many deputies said that it is necessary to promote the application of digital technology in supervision activities. The establishment of a national database on supervision connecting between the central and local levels was proposed to integrate information from reports, conclusions, questions, voters' recommendations, inspection, and audit results. Some deputies suggested clearly defining the roadmap for digitizing the supervision process, from planning to informing results, contributing to increasing transparency and efficiency. The law on supervisory activities of the National Assembly and People's Council is of great significance in the Vietnamese legal system, as it is a tool to institutionalize the people's supervisory rights through elected bodies, contributing to strengthening people's trust in the activities of the National Assembly and authorities at all levels.
At the invitation of President of Vietnam Lung Kung, on October the 24th and the 25th, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is paying an official visit to Vietnam and attended the signing ceremony of the UN Convention Against Cybercrime, also known as Hanoi Convention. On the afternoon of October the 24th, President Lung Kung hosted an official welcoming ceremony for and held talks with the General Secretary of the UN.
Asserting that Vietnam will continue to make active and responsible contributions to peace, stability, cooperation, and development both regionally and globally, President Lung Kung outlined priorities for future Vietnam-UN cooperation. First, he called for UN reforms to boost efficiency and optimal use of resources, offering Vietnam as a host for UN agencies or offices. Second, he urged more focused, results-driven collaboration in science, technology, innovation, workforce development, climate change, disaster management, non-traditional security, and just energy transition. Third, Vietnam pledges deeper involvement in UN peacekeeping. Fourth, he stressed joint efforts to combat transnational and cyber crimes to ensure safe, secure, and healthy cyberspace for peace, stability, and sustainable development. Fifth, it is necessary for stronger ASEAN-UN cooperation. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres consented to further advance ASEAN-UN ties and expressed strong support for ASEAN's central role in the regional security and development architecture. He also voiced support for ASEAN's ongoing efforts to ensure security, safety, and freedom of navigation and overflight in the East Sea or South China Sea internationally, and peacefully settle disputes in accordance with international law, particularly the 1982 UN clause.
On October the 24th, the Ministry of National Defense held a conference to review 15 years of implementing Directive No. 39 in 2009 of the Minister of National Defense on organizing voluntary blood donation drives in the military. Senior Lieutenant General Vũ Hải Sản, Deputy Minister of National Defense, chaired the conference.
In recent times, the military units have launched a voluntary blood donation movement with many outstanding results. Many innovative models and methods have been replicated. The dissemination and mobilization of voluntary blood donation have been widely deployed with many diverse forms. In the 2009-2024 period, the whole military organized 1,520 voluntary blood donation campaigns, receiving more than 528,000 blood units. Some military hospitals have been interested in investing in developing technical expertise in hematology and blood transfusion. Xing Lieutenant General Wu Haisan suggested strengthening education and dissemination to raise awareness for officers and soldiers and workers and asked units to come up with solutions to ensure medical work and health care for blood donors, medical examination and treatment facilities to continue to well perform in receiving, preserving, and ensuring absolute safety in the use of blood and blood products.
For the past 15 years, countless drops of blood born from compassion and humanity have brought back heartbeats, breath, and life itself to those standing on the edge of survival. Truly, each drop of blood donated means one life saved.
For patients battling blood cancers, blood transfusion is often the only lifeline that sustains them. Some endure months or even years of treatment, receiving hundreds of liters of blood throughout their fight. When my body lacks blood, I feel exhausted and desperately wait for the next transfusion. I am deeply grateful to my comrades and all voluntary blood donors who helps patients like me continue treatment. Knowing that their blood flows through my veins gives me the strength to keep fighting. Patients with acute leukemia usually undergo treatment lasting from 1 to 2 years. After that period, they may require hundreds of transfusions to survive. 15 years ago, most of the blood used for emergency care and treatment came from paid or professional donors. But since the implementation of Directive No. 39 by the Minister of National Defense, more than 90% of the blood supply now comes from voluntary donors. A remarkable shift driven by compassion and community spirit. One patient alone has undergone dozens of surgeries, receiving over 100 liters of blood throughout their treatment journey. Their survival, like that of so many others, stands as living proof of the power of compassion and solidarity.
Following the release of the draft documents for the 14th National Party Congress, officers and soldiers in the whole military have joined people nationwide in studying the draft and contributing their opinions. For the military, this is more than a political duty. It is an expression of trust, responsibility, and deep loyalty to the party, the fatherland, and the people.
With the documents now open for public feedback, servicemen have taken the opportunity to study them closely. They share confidence and pride that the achievements of the past tenure have laid a firm foundation for Vietnam's continued growth and for building a stronger, more modern military. Despite many difficulties, our economy continues to grow and people's lives are improving. That is the solid ground on which the party and state can build a strong whole-people defense. Across all branches, soldiers find in the draft documents new directions, clear goals, and fresh motivation. Every opinion sent to the National Assembly reflects their genuine desire to contribute to a clean, strong, and steadfast party. The party must strengthen its leadership and governance capacity, continue building a transparent and disciplined organization, and resolutely deal with officials and party members who show moral decline or ideological deviation. The draft political report reaffirms the party's stance on national construction must go hand in hand with the national defense, ensuring close coordination between defense, security, and socio-economic development. It reflects the party's steadfast commitment to independence, self-reliance, and sustainable progress in the new era.
Localities across the Central Highlands have been effectively implementing the project on building permanent militia posts in border communes, turning these outposts into a reliable, practical and defense force that helps protect national sovereignty and ensure local stability.
In Gia Lai Province, the Jiannan militia post was among the first built, providing solid facilities for living, training, and long-term duty. Since its establishment, combat readiness and border management have improved markedly. With new infrastructure, training areas, and gardens for self-sufficiency, our officers and soldiers feel secure, united, and ready to act whenever duty calls. Along with the border, militia posts in Gia Lai and Đắk Lắk are arranged alongside border guard stations and local villages, forming a closely linked defense network. Training exercises have been strengthened to improve combat readiness and coordination. For these soldiers, the post is home and the border is homeland. Their steadfast presence keeps the frontier secure, peaceful, and full of life.
Coming up next, South African President CYRIL Ramaphosa pays tribute to General Bongza. 65th anniversary of Vietnam-Cuba relations marked. On the occasion of his official state visit to Vietnam on October the 24th, South African President CYRIL Ramaphosa visited the family of General Bongza. The South African president was moved to recall the affection that generations of leaders and people of Vietnam and South Africa during the national liberation struggle. General Bongza was a source of trust and great encouragement for the struggle of South African people that South Africa always remembers and is grateful for. The South African president showed his interest in fostering Vietnam-South Africa relations in the current period to continue the long-standing traditional relationship between the two countries, together strengthening the cooperation in all fields. In appreciation of the affection that the South African president and his delegation have for General Bongza, the general's family presented President CYRIL Ramaphosa with the book Điện Biên Phủ and a portrait of General Bongza. On the evening of October the 24th, the Hanoi Union of Friendship Organizations coordinated with the Red Cross, the Hanoi Department of Culture and Sports, and the Cuba Embassy in Vietnam to organize an art program to celebrate the 65th founding anniversary of the diplomatic relations between Vietnam and Cuba, December the 2nd. This is a special activity within the Vietnam-Cuba Friendship Year, helping strengthen the special friendship between the two peoples.
In his opening speech, President of the Hanoi Union of Friendship Organizations, Nguyễn Ngọc Kỳ, emphasized that the program is a symbol of solidarity, friendship, and close cooperation between the two brotherly countries. Hanoi has actively responded to the campaign Vietnam-Cuba, 65 Years of Friendship, demonstrating the spirit of sharing, accompanying, and giving strength to the Cuban people to overcome difficulties. Cuban ambassador to Vietnam, Rogelio Polanco Fuentes, expressed his deep gratitude for the affection of people of Vietnam, especially Hanoi, the city for peace, affirming the solidarity between the two nations has overcome all challenges of time and to become a model of international solidarity. The art program featured performances praising the homeland, the capital city of Hanoi, and especially the brotherly relationship between Vietnam and Cuba, emotionally performed by artists from both countries. The program also featured a photo exhibition introducing outstanding milestones in the special friendship and solidarity between the two countries, along with images of humanitarian activities of the Vietnam Red Cross and Hanoi City for the Cuban people.
More than 34,000 people with disabilities are supported in the project Support to Improve the Quality of Life of People with Disabilities in provinces heavily sprayed with Agent Orange. This is the content mentioned at the conference to review 3 years of implementing the project on supporting to improve the quality of life of people with disabilities in provinces heavily sprayed with Agent Orange, organized by the National Action Center for Toxic Chemicals and Environmental Treatment under the Chemical Corps on October the 24th. Along with that, nearly 17,500 people received rehabilitation, more than 16,700 people received care services, and more than 1,000 people were supported in social integration and livelihood. The project also trained nearly 2,400 rehabilitation staff and developed a support network for people with disabilities in the community and helping find jobs through clubs and self-help groups. It was implemented with close coordination between central branches, local authorities, and functional agencies from the U.S. side. At the conference, the delegates pointed out the difficulties and challenges that need to be further coordinated to ensure that all activities are aimed at improving the quality of life, enhancing integration and sustainable development for people with disabilities. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch news again at qpvn.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.